One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in to the nighttime show as I'm still trying to get everything to work correctly. Had a little bit of a problem just now trying to connect to Rumble. It wouldn't work. And so I had to go direct to YouTube. So that's why I'm only on YouTube. So SV, if you're here or any of the mods, please let people know I tried to connect but couldn't do it. So I'm just on YouTube tonight. Which is okay. We'll still be able to go. We'll get all these kinks worked out very, very soon and be able to just move forward. So if you notice the thumbnail that I put up today, a lot of people can see him, sometimes you can't. And this thumbnail was called Operation Obliteration. And the reason I put that up is because I'm almost thinking that there's two different schools of thought right now. I'm thinking that President Trump and Steve Miller and a lot of the people in the inner circle want to go full obliteration. They just want to go full takedown mode. Completely take these people off the table, make them an irrelevant party, and just move forward with the MAGA agenda. And then I think there are other people, and I think that may be growing, who don't want us to push that hard. And it kind of concerns me because most of you watching probably feel like I do. I want to see it, I want to see him go full obliteration. I want to see him take down the Democrat Party. I want to see him render these people irrelevant. I want to see a good portion of them in jail. I want every bit of the retribution that is due to him and due to us. I want it all. I don't think we are I know we're not in unison on that. There are some people who, and where I'm seeing these factions stray off. I see a certain amount of the faction who are still, and deservedly so, upset about Charlie Kirk, and they're focusing on Charlie Kirk. And I see another faction who don't like RFK Jr. and they think they sold out to Big Pharma by doing Trump RX. And then I see another group of people who don't think that Pam Bondi is doing enough and that she should be fired, and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are useless. And I'm saying, all this happened at the same time. I'm seeing obvious rhinos who don't want to stomp out their opposition. And I just have to wonder at this point, what are we doing? What exactly is it that we are doing collectively as MAGA, where so many people seem to be doing things antagonistically to the movement? I would think at this point, 10 months in, or nearly 10 months in, that we would be laser focused, especially today, especially knowing these people are down on the ropes and they really don't have any response. But instead of seeing everybody collectively to come together and understand what's before us, I think there's some people who are doing certain things so they can make certain money and get certain clicks and likes. And I'm like, you realize if he doesn't do this, you realize if they get back in power, what is going to happen? All of the different ideology and what people think should be happening, it won't matter. And so what I'm talking about specifically right now with this shutdown, I'm seeing something I'm not really happy with. I'm seeing that there's a continuing reaching across the aisle. See if we can negotiate. See if we can work things out. Last night when we met, I said to you, I can't wait till 12:01 and 12:02 because once Russ Vought is ready to go, he's probably going to just start slashing and burning. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because today we saw the Republicans bending over backwards, giving the Democrats yet another chance to vote. And another chance to vote. And then another chance to vote. Maybe it's coming from Trump. Maybe he wants to show us I'm giving these people every opportunity to come to the table. I'm giving them every opportunity before I turn Russ loose. Because once Russ starts going, there's no turning back. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's just the fact these people don't have the same spine. They're not cut from the same cloth as President Trump. And that's what I'm feeling. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that there's so many people with so many different agendas instead of just looking at the agenda that he wants to execute. And then, like we've been telling the Democrats, come to the table and then we'll worry about putting something together. I feel the same way with all the different factions in the Republican Party. Get this done, stomp these people out, make them irrelevant, and then have your time saying, I wish we could do this, I wish we could do that. Not now, but I think there's a lot of opportunists. I think there are a lot of people who say, now I get my shot in the sunshine. I'm going to be able to make something happen. People are going to listen to me. And I'm like, why would we do that? Why would we not just be understanding this is the man we voted for? It's only been 10 months in. Let the dude cook. Let him cook. Trust in him. I'm not saying don't question him. I'm saying trust in him. And I can tell by what he's posting, he's trying to let everybody know these people are liars and they need to be dealt with hard. He posted this, or somebody from the White House posted this. I want to show this to you. It's a fact sheet that they put up on whitehouse.gov. You can go read this. Go read it, have it, be a part of being able to spread information that is true. Fact, Democrats shut down government over free health care for the newcomers. And it's a fact sheet. Today, October 1st, Democrats and their fake news allies want you to believe it's all a lie that Democrats shut down the government over free health care for newcomers. Except that's exactly what happened. As Vice President J.D. Vance said, quote, it's not something we made up. It's not a talking point. It's in the actual text of the bill. that they initially gave us to reopen the government. As the White House makes clear in a new memo, Democrats' unserious proposal takes extraordinary efforts to accommodate newcomers while repealing reforms that strengthen health care for American citizens. If we can't agree on that premise moving forward, if we can't say, yes, this is what they did, then we don't have a shot. There has to be a collectivity, a unified voice going, you're lying to the American public, and the media is participating in this grandiose scheme that you're running to try and get over on people. Forget all the other stuff right now. This is the most important thing that is happening in government, and I fear people are missing it. Let's continue with this. Here's what you need to know. And I love the way they just put this right out there, put it right in your face. Here are the facts. Democrats' proposal would result in nearly $200 billion to be spent on health care for the newcomers and other non-citizens over the next decade, enough to fund the entire CHIP program, Children's Health Insurance Program. Democrats' continuing resolution spend nearly $200 billion on health care subsidies for the immigrants and other non-citizens. And here are all the different sections of the proposal with the numbers attached. Okay, debate that. Forget all the stupid stuff you're hearing on television. If people have a problem, debate this. Those numbers on the far right, as you can see, are in millions. So that 191 that you see there, it's $191 million being allocated to newcomers. Fact, Democrats' proposal would once again allow these improperly granted asylum and parole under Biden's open border scheme to receive Medicaid that you're going to pay for. They're not paying for it. Fact, Democrats' proposal would require Medicaid to pay more for emergency care provided to the newcomers than it does for American patients who are disabled, elderly, or children. Let that one sink in. We're going to be giving more of your money to these people instead of the people here in America who need it most. That's what they want. There can be really no denying this at this point, that this is exactly what they want. Next one. Fact, Democrats' proposal would allow California to continue exploiting a loophole to fund Medicaid for the newcomers, which is what I was telling you about earlier. In the earlier show, we showed you, and that woman spoke, their entire economy is dependent and built upon these people getting free stuff. It all pyramids out. It starts at the top, or rather the bottom, where the person goes to the hospital, goes to the doctor, and then once they get there, every single test that's run, every single prescription, every single napkin, every single sheet, the people who make the sheets, the people who make the napkins, people who take them to and forth, the transportation, is all paid by you. It can't stand on its own. And so their entire economy is based upon you and your money. They like to brag and say, California has one of the biggest economies in the world. No, it's just a recipient economy. It takes your money and funnels it around. If there's no newcomers there to milk the American public, their economy crashes. There's nobody going to the doctors, so that the nurses, so that the x-ray technicians, so that the blood work, it all collapses. They completely rely on generating the funds and billing the federal government so that they can exist. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Where are we? We're at this one. Fact, Democrats' proposal would reinstate a special Obamacare subsidy for non-citizens, for which the low-income American citizens are not even eligible. Let that sink in. They're going to create or actually recreate a subsidy, giving these people some money of yours to spend while excluding specifically Americans. not my words, right there, for which low-income American citizens are not even eligible. How is that right? How is the media not reporting this? Where are we? What's the next one here? Facts. Democrat proposal would repeal a generational $50 billion investment in rural health care. I'm sorry, that's those white people out there and live in the sticks. Screw them. Screw them. We got to give it to the newcomers. And fact, Democrat proposal would take health savings accounts, HSAs, away from 10 million American citizens. And so when you see all this and you wonder exactly what is going on, it's amazing. And that was just the top level facts. Then they created, I'll show you here, they created a 4-page PDF. And this 4-page PDF, you can go through on your own and see it's all right here. So you tell me how it's possible that people don't realize exactly what's happening. That this is specifically for a class of people who have nothing to do with poor and hurting Americans. It's definitely not good for normal Americans. Oh, if you're working and you're doing okay, it has nothing to do with you. They don't give a crap. Nothing to do with you at all. You get nothing. It's all taking. But now you're finding out it doesn't even help poor Americans. It doesn't even help the Americans that they depend upon to vote. It doesn't help the poor black people in the hood. You're completely excluded. You've been relegated to third-class citizen. But the media acts like this is all fantasy. The media acts like, you shouldn't be talking about it. It's a very scary thing once you begin looking at the information and digging in. I saw this by Shipwreck Crew, an attorney, anon attorney. He said, why did Thune allow the Democratic funding to come up for a vote, and another vote, and another vote? Why? Why? This only allows the shift in the media narrative to be that the GOP voted, yes, Ashley. This only allows a shift in the media narrative to be that the GOP voted against the funding because they can just see it. No way the Dem bill could have been forced into a vote under the rules. It makes no sense. Watch for the media drumbeat to start. We're gifting them the opportunity to regroup their narrative. Why? Finally, they said that the Senate adjourned and they left until Friday, so there's nothing going to happen tomorrow. Nothing at all except for the media chirping. And what I'm going to show you next proves that this is all a ruse. Completely all a ruse. Let me see if this shows up in here. You can see it. President Trump knows. He's calling it out. 1 second here. Let me put it on the screen. President Trump posted this. Maxine Waters admitted that she is demanding health care to the newcomers, and it's going to be the top of the line, taking Americans, taxpayers' health care away from them. She said it. We want health care for everybody. I didn't realize at the time, and I spoke to you guys yesterday, and I said how they were defining this. It seems the only thing they are talking about right now, the single item, is so-called health care. As if people aren't being covered right now. It's all about, and you can look around and look at the news and you can see there's nothing they're talking about except for healthcare. And President Trump called out Maxine Waters, and he actually caused quite the problem because people started talking about it. It was the number one trend. And so here's what really gets to me. We have the Democrats on the run, completely on the run. And now the media knows it. And the media knows, and you're going to see a piece here where they know they messed up. They caught Hakeem Jeffries in a lie live on television, and he couldn't get out of it. A complete lie. Watch this.
So you maintain Democrats are ready to come to the table anytime with anyone at any place on any spending agreement. Vice President J.D. Vance today said the president's open to coming to the table on health care once the government is funded. Where are we at negotiations right now?
Well, we haven't heard from the White House since the White House meeting on Monday. President has been behaving, somewhat erratically and in an unconventional fashion in the context of the government shutting down. Clearly, they wanted to shut the government down. Unfortunately, we're ready to work together to bring it back open, but to do it in a way where we enact a spending agreement that's bipartisan, that meets the needs of the American people, while at the same time addresses the Republican health care crisis that is devastating everyday Americans all across the country.
All right, so hold it right there. The president is acting erratically, and Jake Tapper just sat there and let him talk about it. You go, yeah. So in working in cohesion with the Democrats to paint the picture that there's something really wrong with the president, he's acting erratically. You know what he's talking about, don't you? You know what's under his goad right now. You understand the reason he said that is he's talking about the Mexican memes. He's so pissed off about that, he can't see straight. He's so pissed off about it, he has allowed the media to say at every turn how racist it is what President Trump has done. These are the same people that for, 6 years have called us all racist, homophobes, xenophobes, transphobes, you deplorables. You have called us every name in the book, Nazis, fascists. But that's okay. But a meme, a funny cartoon essentially, has to get labeled an AI video, a deep fake. You realize he wasn't trying to fake anything. You don't even know what a deep fake is. A deep fake is when we try or somebody puts together some sort of visual to try and pretend as though you did it. Anybody with a half of a brain watched that video and they know that it was fake, that it was comedy. We no longer have humor when it is on our side. But they're not even kidding when they call us Nazis and fascists and all these names. They really believe it, or at least that's what they want their people to believe. But listen to this, how Jake Tapper kind of leads Hakeem into this interview and realizes, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that.
Said erratic, and I believe you used the word unhinged the other day.
I did.
Are you trying to draw a line between President Trump's acuity, his mental state, and what's going on here with the shutdown?
No. I'm actually referring to some of his social media posts, which didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
You're the leader of the House Democrats. And Jake's trying to, hey, say it's this, don't say it's that. He's like, no. It's pissing me off that he made fun of me. It got in his head. And Jake was trying to tell him, you're looking stupid. Say it's about this. Don't say it's about, oh God, it's about his social media. He called me a Mexican and put a big old mustache on me. Oh, that's some unhinged stuff.
Sombrero and the mustache?
Correct. Well, it would seem to me that as the President of the United States, on the brink of a government shutdown, if you actually wanted to bring everyone together to try to get to a resolution in a common sense bipartisan way, that's not the type of behavior that we would see. So
if you wanted to bring people together, it's not the kind of behavior you would want to see. So we need to be kissing your butt. We need to be making sure that you're not upset. You mean almost as though you have the cards in this game. That we should placate the Democrats. Instead of them realizing you should be crawling to the table. You should be coming to talk to President Trump as best as you possibly can and get yourself there an hour early and sit quietly. But no, hey, if you want me to come to the table, I'm Hakeem. I'm the Timu Obama. I'm Dollar Store Obama. You need to make me feel good.
Hopefully, moving forward, whether it's President Trump or Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, that will actually come together to have a conversation to figure out how we can get the government reopened immediately stop this pain that Trump is inflicting on hardworking American taxpayers and
the pain he's inflicting on hard-working American taxpayers. The pain that's being inflicted on hard-working American taxpayers is paying for the crap that you want to give away. I almost think people should be saying thank you to President Trump right now by saying thank you for not letting my dollars just fly out the door on some stupid program for people who aren't even supposed to be here. That sounds like a bargain. Where I come from, you're not taking any of my money. So I don't understand how working Americans are being hurt when it's not working Americans you even care about.
at the same time resolve the Republican health care crisis, particularly as it relates to the Affordable Care Act and their refusal to extend the tax credits, which is going to result in tens of millions of Americans experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles.
So let me ask you about a provision that the Republicans are talking about quite a bit.
All right, so listen here. This is Jake Tapper is going to try to run cover for it. This is where he's got in his hands there, because everybody has seen the documentation where this is about paying the Medicaid for newcomers. And listen to the word salad and obfuscation that comes out of his mouth right here.
I know you want to talk about, and Democrats want to talk about, extending the Obamacare subsidies, which expire at the end of 2025. But they talk about the provisions, and it's right here, Subtitle E, and this has to do with the repeal of healthcare subtitle changes, and specifically what it is. How they characterize it is, you want to give health insurance.
Okay, see that. The methodology with Jake Tapper and these people is, it's right here, but they want to categorize it as. Well, Jake, if it's right here, we don't need to characterize it. We don't need to call it anything. It's right there. It's on the piece of paper. You're showing him, hey, it's right here, but they want to characterize it a certain way. I can read. I went to college. I understand what the words say on the paper, which, a pretty simple thing. It doesn't need characterization.
To undocumented immigrants. I understand that's not really an accurate depiction, but what?
I understand that's not really an accurate description as they put the description on the screen. Section 2141, repeal of health title sub changes. Repeal subtitle B or the health title of the Title 7 of the Act entitled an act to provide for reconciliation pursuant to Title 2 of H. They make this stuff complicated so you don't understand it, but what he isn't showing you, it's below it where it says specifically newcomers. I showed it to you today. You can pull it up. Right where it is up there in yellow.
What it does do is...
It's a lie.
It's a lie. But what you support does bring back funding for emergency Medicaid to hospitals, some of which does pay for undocumented immigrants and people.
And he nods. He actually nodded. Yeah. So a rose by any other name is still a rose. I don't care if you call it emergency Medicaid. I don't care if you call it clown car Medicaid. You're still giving newcomers free Medicaid. What are we talking about? He nodded himself.
Who don't have health insurance. And also there is this provision, and it's not about undocumented immigrants, it's about people with asylum seekers and people with temporary protected status, etc.
Oh, man, the amount of gymnastics he had to say that is incredible. It's not just about, newcomers. It's about people seeking asylum and, the temporary protected people. You mean the ones who aren't supposed to be here. A rose, by any other name, it's still a rose. If it's walking like a duck, talks like a duck, smells like a duck, it's a duck. And they're trying to, right now, they realize they're trapped. They realize that Maxine Waters opened her big flap and told everybody, we want to give everybody free health care. I don't want yours. And now they're trying to come backwards, and he goes on Jake Tapper's show, and he tells Jake, or Jake says, okay, I got this. We'll tell people what you're seeing isn't what you're really seeing. We're a magician here. So who's it for? Oh, it's for the people seeking asylum and temporary protected people, but not necessarily those people. That umbrella's still the same. People who aren't supposed to be here. President Trump, and the Supreme Court held it, he reversed the temporary protective status of these people. What are you talking about? You guys are hearing this yourself, and you're probably going, what? It's not done. Then he goes into a whole other category of non-citizens. They're like, who are all these different classifications that now all of a sudden you've just made up?
Et cetera, but about their ability to get Medicaid. So they're non-citizens, they're not undocumented, they're not illegal. Why even include that in a bill knowing that they're going to seize right upon that and use that to message? I understand that when you retake the House, you can get whatever you want passed.
I understand when you retake the House. Oh my God, is that subliminal or not? For everybody at the 20 people watching that at this point, and he just said, well, I understand when you guys take that. Wait, I'm sorry. It's October of 2025. There's not an election for an entire year, and it's a foregone conclusion. When you guys take over the House, you'll be able to just take it. But by the way, besides that, why did you put it in here if you knew it was going to cause problems? I'll tell you why. Because they didn't put it in there. They didn't know it was in there. Some clerk, some backwoods person, some deep stater just said, just do it, and then just pass it. They didn't know. There's no way you would have written this in your proposal and expected it to get by the Trump people. Like, wait a second, did they just give me a proposal that says we need to give them $1.5 trillion to people who aren't supposed to be getting a dime? Yeah. And so for the last couple of days or a week or so, that's all you've heard. The Republicans have been saying and screaming they want free money for this stuff. And he can't even admit it. Why'd you put it in there?
But at this point,
well, what we're doing is fighting to protect the health care of the American people against the largest cut to Medicaid ever. 14 million American citizens are going to lose their health care as a result of what Republicans did.
You're talking about the subsidies again, but I'm talking about the non-citizens.
No, I'm talking about...
He can't answer. I credit Jake for that. Hey, man, you're not answering my question. Why did you put this in here? Why is this? Who had the audacity to say, I'm going to go to this fight, and I'm going to say, you're going to take all this stuff, I'm going to shove it down your throat, and that's it. And you're expecting President Trump and the Trump administration to just take it and not deal with it. And even Jake Tapper's like, well, why'd you put it in the document? It's a very simple question. And all the other stuff that you're talking about, subsidies this and subsidies that, you know what a subsidy is, right? You know what a subsidy is supposed to be. I make $100, the bill's $150, I'll give you a little bit here to get you up to the $150. The Democrats don't even want subsidies. They want you to pay for the entire thing. And the Republicans are like, well, if you got 100 and you only need 50, how about you go get a job to pay for the rest? If you're short, if you can't come up with everything, go get a job. Is that a bad word? JOB is a bad word to the Democrat circles? Yep. Because some of these people, because they're newcomers, can't get jobs. And Jake has him on this. He goes, why are you talking about the subsidies? Subsidies are only for those people who can't afford something, the full price of something. They get a discount. The government says, hey, listen, you can't afford it. We'll help you out with this part, which I personally don't have a problem with if the person really can't afford it. If the person doesn't make enough money because they're unskilled, well, we need to fix that, not the health care. The health care is right there. You can afford it. You just don't make enough money. And so that means we're going to have to show you and get you ready. We're going to drug test you. We're going to make sure you understand what working in a warehouse is all about. And we're going to make you a more productive member of society so you don't need the subsidy. That's exactly what the Republicans want to do, but it's not overnight. Hey, listen, we'll give you the subsidy for X period of time. By then, you should learn how to work the forklift. You should be able to learn how to work the ladders. Then you'll be making more money and you won't need the subsidy. The old adage, if you find a cat or something and you start putting the milk outside, it's going to keep coming back because it likes you giving him the food, the milk. It's good stuff. But, if that dog don't hunt, that cat don't hunt, you're going to be stuck feeding it forever. These people treat people worse than animals. These are able-bodied humans. We're not talking about people who have medical issues in the head or medical issues or infirmities with their body. We're not talking about that. Those people should definitely be taken care of. They should be actually taken care of better than they're being taken care of now. If you've got some sort of mental derangement, whether it's schizophrenia or whatever, we should be able to help you. You may have to go in this building for a while, which is another problem. This building here has got some people that really want to help you. Come on. You can't leave until you can figure out if you can do anything. But we need to remove those people from society and put them where they can actually get help, if they can be helped. And people who are physically affirmed, then they get the pass. Sort of like any veterans. You lose a limb fighting for this country, you should be good to go. You should have one of those gold cards. But that's not who they're talking about. They're talking about able-bodied people who choose to just make more babies instead of working. And so even Jake is saying, let's not talk about the subsidies. Let's talk about this stupid proposal you put out there.
The Medicaid cuts, that document that you just showed me, that was the one big ugly bill. 14 million Americans are going to lose access to health care. Their hospitals, their nursing homes, their community-based health clinics are closing because of...
Did you hear what he just described? He just described what I told you about California. They've created their own trickle-down effect. If they lose this, we lose all of that. And if we lose all of that, all these people and everything else is going to crumble in California and in some of these blue states. I don't know if you've seen, but I forget which state it was, but one of the largest baby removal factories in the country just had to close its doors. A huge building just had to close its doors. Why? Because we are no longer funding it. And as soon as we stopped funding it, it took them, 7 months and they're done. Big old empty building now. You just knock it down because I wouldn't want to put anything in there. But they can't continue. They can't operate without your money. So in addition to all the other stuff, the other industry that was thriving, which also existed because of your money, was baby removal. And as soon as the baby removal money stopped, they went out of business. You're finding right now how many things have been funded and existed simply because of you. NPR, they're about to go bye-bye. PBS, about to go bye-bye. They can't raise any money from donors. All of this infrastructure that the Democrats put together was based upon your taxes.
What the Republicans have done. These are hard-working American taxpayers, and the Republicans know they're lying about this issue. By the way, current federal law is clear. Taxpayer dollars cannot be spent on Medicaid or Medicare or the Affordable Care Act related to undocumented immigrants, and not a single Democrat has raised the issue of trying to reverse that federal law.
I told you what the law is that they're using to sneak that in, and it was, quote, the emergency. Not the big one in terms of, the actual qualifications, but the Biden administration put out this emergency thing that does allow them to slide those people in. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And Jake is sitting with it in his hands. He could call him on it at any point. And Hakeem here still hasn't answered his question.
What we are trying to do is save the health care of the American people, lower their costs, and cancel these cuts.
Do you not think that the provisions that provide health care for non-citizens muddies that message?
I didn't know CNN turned into YouTube. What the hell is a non-citizen? He won't even say the word. I don't know, maybe they're under some sort of order. You got to call them newcomers. But yeah, non-citizens, I guess, is okay. What the hell does that mean? And he came back and he asked the question a different way. Do you realize that putting this in the proposal where non-citizens are getting paid their bills might have been a bad idea? You going to answer it this time?
No, you're referring to emergency care that some states might administer based on state law. We're talking about federal law.
He admitted that he was right, that there is a provision, and he's thinking it was state law. He got caught. He doesn't even know. He got caught right there and is trying. And Jake, hold on, look at Jake's face. Look, he's got his face down like, oh, this idiot stepped right into it. They're going to play this thing forever. He didn't realize what he just said, which proves to you he and other people are not involved in putting this together. We haven't seen who the deep state people are behind the scenes who are orchestrating all of this. It's not him. It's not Schumer. It's not AOC. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. The prudent politician, if he didn't know, should have said, Jake, can I see that? May I review what you have? I got it right here. I showed it to you. It's all out there. Anybody can read it. This dude never even... Oh, you're talking about the emergency medication. No, we're not talking about that. Do newcomers get that? Jake could have asked him. Says, oh yeah, but that's state level.
Have the ability to change state law.
So right now, J.D. Vance says he's talking to other Democrats in the Senate. 3 Democrats, or 3 people that caucus with Democrats, Angus King of Maine, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Cortez Masto of Nevada, they voted to proceed for the continuing resolution. They only need 5 more Democrats. Are you worried at all about the more moderate Democrats caving?
Not at all. In fact, what I think, constructive conversations are positive. I don't know that these conversations have been constructive because for the last several months, what we've seen from the Trump administration is that they've adopted a my way or the highway approach. Now, if you adopt a my way or highway approach and then you drop on us a partisan spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people, then the reality is they are going to drive us toward the government shutdown.
The partisan spending bill, is that the one big beautiful bill or the continuing resolution? Because the continuing resolution just funds the government at the...
Oh my goodness. I think at this point as a reporter, Jake Tapper realized he had some red meat there. He realized probably for the first time as he was looking at Hakeem Jeffries that this guy's a blibbering idiot. You don't know the difference between this and this? And he kind of just looks at him like, Hakeem, I'm trying to help you, but you don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm on national television, and you're talking like this. I'm asking you a question. The continuing resolution or this or this? And he doesn't have a clue. This may have just completely tanked the Democrats' possibilities of anything. If normal people see this.
Level. Well, actually, the continuing resolution that they have presented to the Congress is a partisan bill. House Democrats voted against it in March because it hurt veterans, hurt seniors, hurt children, hurt child care affordability, hurt housing affordability, and hurt health care, which is why we opposed it.
You're saying that Chuck Schumer then voted for a Republican partisan bill because he...
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me explain to you what just happened. He just went off on a diatribe on how it hurt this person, hurt that person. Well, then why did Chuck vote for it last time? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's got his talking points. It hurts kids. It hurts veterans. It hurts affordable housing. Well, then why did Chuck vote for it?
Voted for that. So did 9 other Democrats in the march.
Well, Chuck Schumer did explain his views on the merits of that bill at the time. I don't think he ever disputed that there were challenging parts of that legislation.
Chuck voted for it before he didn't want to vote for it, and then he decided to vote for it, and he didn't dispute that there were what? What was the word salad that you just vomited all over Jake Tapper? I had to watch this 4 or 5 times. I'm sitting there, I'm hitting rewind. I'm like, he really has no idea what Jake Tapper is talking about. He's an actor. I came to realize at this point, just like with AOC, he's an actor. He has no clue what he's talking about. He just got exposed by CNN. Never mind on Fox or something. He just got exposed on CNN. No wonder he's all pissed off about a sombrero video, because that's all he can understand. How scary is that this guy's the leader of the House in the Democrat side, and he doesn't understand what he's saying? Very simple questions. He's good at deflecting, but at this point, the deflection isn't helping him.
Partisan bill is the one that's before us now. A bipartisan agreement on spending had actually been reached in December. Bipartisan majorities in the House and the Senate. Joe Biden signed it into law. Then President-elect Donald Trump blessed it as well.
So let me...
Jake's like, can we change the subject? How much time is left in this segment? We're going to have to move on. We can't do this. This guy's a blithering idiot. Oh my gosh, he's absolutely crazy. I understand it may have been painful to watch, but now you know for a fact, you can tell people, these people are bat poop crazy, they're liars, they're stupid, and even somebody like Jake Tapper had enough to understand something's really wrong here. And even the little questions that he asked, he had no response for. So you're saying Chuck Schumer actually voted for it? Yeah, that was what President Trump did before he was elected. Then he got elected and they changed. What are you talking about? This is why I feel we are in a position right now where we need to completely bury these people. Just completely go for it. Take down the Democrat Party. Stop playing around. Stop with all the games. Stop trying to make different things more important because you personally feel that it should be more important. That, I don't know, maybe you're getting paid by this person or that person. I don't care about your sponsors. I don't care about your advertising, but there's something wrong. There is definitely something wrong that there's so much division, self-made division on the right. Everybody has their own ideology at this point. And I'm like, if you just watch these people, they're crumbling. Your opponent is falling apart in front of you. Do something. I'll be right back.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I want to show you something. Then I'll take a few comments because this is pretty wild. This is from Senator Tom Cotton. Watch the Dem media talking points quickly shift to not all of the new money Dems demand is going to go to the government or goes to newcomers, just some of it. Now they've realized they've backed themselves into a corner and people are finding out. Watch the narrative shift. And what he was referring to when it says credit to Bloomberg for reporting that the Democrats are indeed demanding money and health care for newcomers to open a government. I appreciate the candor and look forward to the rest of the press updating their fact-checking. And so this guy, Eric Wasson, who is a writer for Congress for Bloomberg, actually said the quiet part out loud. To be clear, the full $1.4 trillion they want isn't to boost healthcare for undocumented. It's a tiny fraction of that. Wait a second. Yesterday, in the last couple of days, you told us none of it. Yesterday, you said none of it was going for the undocumented. You said it's a fallacy. It's MAGA making stuff up. Now, all of a sudden, it might be some. Yeah, you caught us. We were trying to slide it by, but it's not the whole 1.4 trillion. We never said it was the whole 1.4 trillion. $500 billion is going to NPR and PBS. We don't want that either. So what exactly is the portion that you're advocating needs to go to the undocumented? Now that we now know that is indeed what's happening. And so what Tom Cotton said was, yep, watch the narrative shift right now. You can afford it. Why can't we give them some? They're starting to admit it. The veil has come off, and they're starting to tell you, yep, it's going to the undocumented. That was from Bloomberg. Bloomberg put it out there. To be clear, okay, I'm listening, let's be clear. Not the whole 1.4 trillion. Oh, come on, silly. Not all of it. Just a small fraction of that. What's a small fraction of 1.4 trillion? I don't know. 10%? 1.4 billion? No, that'd be 100 billion. What's a small fraction of 1.4 trillion? I'd love a small fraction of 1.4 trillion. I'm probably sure you'd like it. And now this is what we're supposed to buy into? Just a little bit. Well, how did it grow to a little bit when yesterday it was none? None. No, none of this money's for them. Well, yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. Come on, can't you spare a square? Oh, Roberta says, liars can never keep their story straight. Once it gets out, it becomes a deluge. And so now that it's out, and it came out late in the day, it's going to be everywhere tomorrow. And so you're going to watch the backstroking and gymnastic contortions because it went from, no, not at all, maybe a little bit. They won't even let me send money to my favorite podcast. It would be great to have only one party, MAGA Perry. Oh yeah. Oh good gosh. If you vote for me, I'll give you free health care and 2 Super Bowl tickets. So Melanie says, I'll take 0.5%. I'll take 0.5% of $1 trillion. I don't see how this party can exist except for us letting it exist. President Trump is interrupting their personal cash flow, and I don't care. Oh, I don't know if I got it on this computer. This is a different computer. Did I bring it over? Yeah, I got her.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I really don't. I don't think it. I don't care. See, now here's the problem. Even if you're saying it's just a tiny fraction, can you put that into like numerical so I can understand it? What fraction are you talking about of $1.4 trillion for about 2 months is going to them. Because you know they got to do this all over again, right? So this is just what they want to spend now. It's crazy. Jeffries is the male counterpart of Kamala Wurtzel. And you know what's funny about that you say that? If you knew, unless you just thought that you were going on television with Jake Tapper, if you knew that you were going to be on television and questions were going to be asked of you, wouldn't you kind of have an idea as what the hell's going on? Or were you just hoping to flip and wing it? Because it looks like he was trying to just wing it. Insane. Absolutely insane. Let me go here and show you this. And this is what they're really... I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Grifters with Matthew Damon. He's a poker, and Ed Norton. And John Malkovich is the Russian KGB. And he's also a bookie and all kinds of things. And Matt Damon owes him a whole bunch of money. And at the end, when they're playing poker, he says, and here, if you lose, you meet your fate. And the leg breaker guy is standing in the corner, just hoping, he loses, but Matt ends up winning. The guy standing in the corner for the Democrats, or looking at the Democrats right now, is Russ Vought. Russ Vought is exactly the right man to seize this shutdown moment. If federal bureaucrats are non-essential, you remember that word, during a shutdown, they should be permanently non-essential. That makes sense to me. I speak English. And then we can permanently reduce the size of the federal government, says Larry Kudlow. That's the same thing a lot of people have been saying. If it's non-essential, why do they got jobs at all? Is it just a charity? Hey, listen, we're going to hire a whole bunch of people. Yeah, actually it was. That's exactly what the Democrats did under Biden. They created this workforce of people who don't even go to work. Completely empty office buildings. 100% non-essential. Then why are we paying them at all? And the thing is, just like Larry Kudlow said, all of us are sitting on the sidelines waiting for the executioner to begin doing what he needs to do, to begin executing Operation Obliteration. And we're sitting here going, yeah, well, 12:01 last night passed and not much happened. And then we saw this morning he rescinded like $24 billion from New York City. But so far, we haven't heard of the big slashing and burning of the workforce, the RIF, reduction in force. That hasn't happened yet. Why? I don't know. Maybe Trump's got giving these people all the time he can. That may be it. I don't know. I don't know. Now, just to let you know, today, in the midst of all this, all this was going on, a news story broke that nobody really paid any attention to, as we're segueing out of all being about the shutdown. This here is about what they're doing in Memphis, that people are freaking out because they know Trump is now doing this stuff and putting together a pretty good business model on how to go after these cities and how to take these cities down. My buddy Clandestine, who's sort of like Shipwreck, he posted this. I've now got hundreds of libs in my comments screaming about the Constitution and the Posse Comitatus Act. They were taught a talking point that they don't understand, of course. Nobody taught them the exception to the Posse Comitatus Act, also known as the Insurrection Act. Morons. If Trump wants to send U.S. military troops to U.S. cities, he is constitutionally able to do so, as upheld by the Supreme Court, via the Insurrection Act, and this is not an unprecedented action. The left only pretends to care about the Constitution when it suits them. They don't actually have any idea what they're talking about, and this is the Insurrection Act of 1807. If you haven't read this, I would urge you to go look at the Insurrection Act of 1807 and read it and specifically understand what this law says. We'll do a quick run over here. The Insurrection Act of 1807 is the U.S. federal law that empowers the President of the United States to nationally deploy the U.S. military and to federalize the National Guard units of the individual states in specific circumstances such as the suppression of civil disorder, of insurrection, and of armed rebellion against the federal government of the U.S. The Insurrection Act provides a statutory exception to the Posse Comitatus Act that limits the president's deploying the U.S. military to enforce either civil law or criminal law within the United States. The important part here is just this here. What can you use it for? You can use it for the suppression of civil disorder, of insurrection, and of armed rebellion against the federal government of the U.S. What exactly is happening in some of these cities? He's going and he's first going to be securing the ICE buildings and the federal buildings. And what exactly is happening in these inner cities? Well, they have lots of civil disorder. I'm pretty sure burning stuff and throwing stuff and everything else is a civil disorder. That's a pretty easy bar to pass. And then armed rebellion against the federal government. And you're saying, Barry, there hasn't been an armed rebellion against the federal government. I beg to differ. What happened in Dallas? What happened with the guy on the roof who actually used a weapon and shot at ICE? He was armed. We don't even know how many threats there have been. And so it is going to be very hard for the left to complain about the Insurrection Act when they're actually promoting an insurrection. And so today, listen to this cast of characters. Today, Stephen Miller, and stop me if you've heard this, Stephen Miller, Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, all went down to Memphis because now they're starting to roll things out there, and they held a press conference. I couldn't find it anywhere. I had to go to a little station in Memphis and actually find this press conference. So the audio and the video is kind of shaky. I upgraded the audio as best as possible, so there may be some squeaky noise in it. It's not the computer or the stream. It's the actual video of the press conference. And I thought to myself, why was this not on any major station? You've got major members of the Trump administration down in Memphis with the governor of Memphis making speeches about how they're rolling this out, and nobody covered it. And I'm shocked, but I found it for you.
Governor Bill Lee, who is addressing and talking about the Memphis Safe Task Force. Let's listen in.
Family and live and work and worship and enjoy this great city like they should in an American city like Memphis. I'm very grateful to the president. I'm very grateful to his team, but I'm very grateful for you who are out there doing the hard work, who are putting yourself in harm's way to keep harm away from videos. That's what's happening. That's what's begun this week. The level of gratitude and the excitement that we have in my office and frankly across the state of Tennessee, what's happening here in Memphis, hard to measure. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for everyone up on this day.
And thank you all for what you do. President Trump made it clear to all of us, and we know that Memphis is an iconic city, and we are going to make Memphis safe again. That's why we're here. We're working hand in hand with you. Trump cares about you, and all of us care about you. All of the Memphis police officers, all of you, we are here to have your backs. All of the law enforcement. You got our backs, and we are going to have yours. So by the way, there's a federal shutdown right now. I don't know if you saw that in D.C. Well, we know crime doesn't shut down. And that's why we're all here. You work 24/7, and we're all working 24/7 to have your back. All of our federal agents in this room, DEA, ATF, FBI, U.S. Marshal, working hand in hand with HSI, all of Peace Guard, all of our officers working hand in hand with you as a team. That's what we did in D.C., and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to keep you safe. And let me be very, very clear. I am a career prosecutor. If you touch a law enforcement officer, it is a crime and you are going to jail. We are arresting anyone who touches any of you. If you touch a federal officer, it's going to be a full-time federal officer, and we have our U.S. attorney here. And to all of you state and local officers, let's see what your DA does, because he better prosecute crime against you, because we have your backs.
Again, I'm sorry the audio and the video is a little bit shaky. This came directly from a local news network in Memphis. I couldn't find it on the national sites anywhere. I couldn't find it on RSBN. I couldn't find it on my feeds. I had to dig and find this. And I'm like, why did this not get covered? Why are we not seeing this news everywhere? It's mind-blowing.
And a police officer. And I thank you for what you do, and thank your families. You are out here night and day. God bless you. I'm here for you, and we will always be here for you. We are going to, this is long term. We are going to work hand in hand to make the most violent crime city in the country have no crime. Thank you all. God bless you, and God bless you.
I'll just say what a privilege it is to be here. We see you up front, we see you in the back. I see green, blue, black, tan, camouflage, all together in one cause, one city. It's pretty cool to have a privilege, and we all do, Steve and Pam and myself, so many others, to see how much President Trump loves Americans, American cities, and American citizens. Now he puts America first. And at the Department of War, we are proud to be part of that effort to ensure we're defending the homeland and defending those who defend the homeland. Whether it's our southwest border, or we're going to zero those crossing illegally, whether it's in Los Angeles, where we stand by our partners in ICE, who need to be able to have the ability to do their job anywhere, in any American city. Whether Washington, D.C. is during our nation's capital, is safe for citizens and visitors who come to visit that beautiful place, or right here in Memphis, where your families, every family, deserves to live safe and free. So, I had a chance yesterday to talk a little bit how we're changing the environment at the Department of War. I see some great beards out here, and they're just not allowed in the imagery anymore. Undercover, that's right. I just cannot thank you enough for what you do. What you do in difficult places, in dark places, in dangerous places, where politicians spend a lot of time second-guessing you. Second-guessing the impossible decision that you have to make that they will never understand. It's part of what we're trying to do at the department for our troops overseas or in combat and elsewhere. We're not here to second-guess you. We're here to have your back, to unleash you, to do your job so you come home and say, our department is here to enable you, law enforcement, to do your job, to help protect your facilities, help protect your people, so that your hands can be untied to secure your city. So our department is proud to be here. It's a priority for us. The Tennessee National Guard is going to be right here, having your back. Godspeed, God bless. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, Pete, Gaddy, Pam, and of course, your governor, for not only being here today, but for the invitation to your state to bring the full resources of the federal government to making Memphis safer than any of you could ever possibly imagine. To the Memphis Police Department, to the officers that I see sitting in front of me, we are about to provide you with a level of support you cannot even imagine. This isn't just a task force. This is a all of government unlimited support operation. ATF, DEA, FBI, Department of War, every resource we had. And then I'm going to be sitting behind a desk at a keyboard. We are sending in real cops with guns and bandits to go out with you on the street every single night making arrests. These are people who have taken down drug cartels, kingpins, the worst criminal offenders in the United States, standing with you shoulder to shoulder to shoulder. All we ask from you is to show up at roll call every single night with your brothers and sisters in the federal government and to go out and get the criminals off the street. And if you do that, I pledge to you, we will liberate this city from the criminal element that has plagued it for generations. This is not just a strategy shift. This is an attitude shift. We are not going to live in an environment anywhere where there is a street that belongs to a criminal, where there is a neighborhood that belongs to a gang, where there is any physical space anywhere that belongs to anyone other than the law-abiding citizens and families of Memphis. The idea that there is a square inch of law in this city where a citizen doesn't feel safe is unacceptable. This is Memphis. This is the United States of America, and all that bullshit is done. It's over. It's finished. They think that they're ruthless. They have no idea how ruthless we are. They think they're on top. They have no idea how tough we are. They think that they're hardcore. We are so much more hardcore than they are. And we have the entire weight of the United States government behind us. What do they have? They have nothing behind them. So we are going to win. They are going to lose. We are going to rescue Memphis. And it will not only be safer than ever before, but businesses and investment are going to pour in, and Memphis will be richer than ever before. Because President Trump has decided this is a priority. And when President Trump makes a decision, this team behind me today executes. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, I thought I said before we started that there was definitely a sound issue with that video, but I wanted you guys to hear it because it's really important to hear. A good portion of the administration's cabinet was in Memphis getting ready to get going. All right, so I got a special thing that I kind of put together. On this computer, I don't have my 10 spot put together, so I'm just calling this the News Roundup.
Yeah, there are vital services that will get covered nonetheless, but the issue with the shutdown, as you know, is that the agencies don't get reimbursed for the services that they provide. So if the shutdown goes on for some period of time, that's where you'll see the problem. We also have, as you know, 45,000 people, you may know, 45,000 people in the state of Illinois who are being furloughed as a result of that shutdown. And then I'll just take it up 10,000 feet to remind everybody that why this shutdown is taking place. The President of the United States decided to shut down the government because he's unwilling to sit down with Democrats to discuss things. And he thinks that the right thing to do is simply to fold his arms and let people go without pay to get furloughed and let all the services that people rely upon shut down. I think that's wrong. And I think that instead, because you need Democratic votes to get something done here, that he should simply sit down with the leaders and actually hash out a deal. He wrote a book, or supposedly wrote a book, called The Art of the Deal.
Okay, so I'm going to stop him right there. If you read the supposed book that President Trump did about Art of the Deal, then you would know he's doing exactly what he has done for his entire life. And that is, when you hold the cards, when you hold all the advantages, you squash your opponent. You don't give your opponent life. You don't breathe life into your opponent. You squeeze them. There is no reason for him to sit with the Democrats. They're not offering him anything. There's no negotiation. There's no need for compromise. If you read the book, which obviously you didn't, you know some of the things he's done to get what he needed to get done. This is a man who's a billionaire because of his family, but it's obvious he's never done deals. When you're sitting across from someone that you know that you want something from them and they can't stop you, I can't even believe that has to be explained to people. There's no need for President Trump to sit down with these people. Well, Barry, they should try to come together, try to work things out. They should be working things out. They're the ones who should be coming to him with ideas. What do we need to do, President Trump? Well, you need to get rid of this newcomer money. No, we're not doing that. All right, well, give me a call. That's it. That's my line in the sand. I can't even sit at the table with you until you decide to take that off. We're not going there. What else you got? You want merry-go-rounds? We can talk about that. You want extra water for New York City? This is a no-go. There's nothing to discuss. And unless you've sat across from somebody who makes major deals, you would know that hey, once they tell you that's off the table, that's where that slogan came from. It's off the table. We're not even discussing that. What else you got? What do you want? I've sat in front of people who actually looked at me and said stuff like that. What do you got? What do you want? Talk to me. You got 15 minutes. What do you got? Well, I want to do this and I'm not doing that. Oh. And if you don't have anything that the other person wants, that negotiation that you think's a negotiation isn't going to happen. And so every time these people go on television and say you want to sit down and talk, you're wasting my time. You think it's wrong? You call somebody who's got a ton of money and say you want to do a deal, and they'll ask you straight up, what do you got? No thanks. Click. No, don't waste my time. You ever heard the term elevator pitch? If you haven't ever heard the term elevator pitch, you might want to look that up. And it's an old-fashioned slogan or mantra from back in the day when people would get on an elevator and start heading to their office. You better tell me what you need, what you want by the time I get off this elevator, or you'll never hear from me again. Make it count. Go. Because I don't have time to listen to your BS. Why would President Trump come in here and try to take his time up to listen to their insanity? You're not doing anything.
And says he's a great deal maker. Time to go to work.
No, it doesn't work that way. A person is a great deal maker because they know, what was the song? You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. You don't have any cards. You got nothing. And so when you have nothing, you need to find a way to get me something to pay attention to. You got nothing. That's why he went golfing with his granddaughter. What do you want? I'm not going to sit here and listen to you beg for an hour. I'm not doing it. Next. And that's what the Democrats are having a problem with, is because he is being an ultimate deal maker, and he is just telling you, I'm not doing it. You got anything else in your briefcase there? No, this is going to be a short conversation. I've given you 15 minutes already. I got stuff to do. Step. And that's why Mike Johnson adjourned the House, and that's why John Thune today adjourned the Senate. You got nothing. There's nothing to discuss. This isn't happening. You can bitch about it in the media all you want. It's not happening. And so in terms about laying people off, well, see, this is where you should be negotiating. Before Roosevelt goes in and goes, shoo, 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 this is what something you should be negotiating. Hey, Mr. President, don't axe these people, AXE. Don't axe these people. Their little office here. They're worthy. Well, why are they worthy? Well, they did this much last year, and they did this much this year, and they're working on... Okay, I'll look at that later. What about this office? There you got something we can talk about. Tell me why I shouldn't right now get rid of all these people. And telling me I shouldn't get rid of them because Christmas is coming isn't a good answer. Most of them probably don't celebrate Christmas, so you're lying to me. I'm not here to make sure that their Christmas is good. I'm here to run a country. And any businessman will tell you the same thing. I can't keep you just because you need a job. You're not performing. Man, it's so easy.
In terms of health care, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion.
Here it comes again. Wait a minute. Wait. We're the ones not being honest? You have been telling everybody the entire time, nothing. This is not true. It's a pipe dream. They've made it up. And now we're starting to hear it again. So now you guys know what to look for tomorrow. Wait a minute. What do you mean small portion? What? I don't understand. This supposed to be zero. And now you're trying to get me to feel bad. It's just a little bit. And this is a senator from California. Here, you can hear him say this again. I couldn't believe he said it.
Healthcare, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts or the Affordable Care Act, if at all. And so we can argue that point, but the reality that even the vice president would acknowledge, that anyone who looks at the numbers will acknowledge, is 90 to 95% of the funding we're talking about is talking about funding for American citizens.
Whoa. Back up. 90 to 95% for Americans. So 5 to 10% is for undocumented by your math. So that little bit on 1.4 trillion has now turned out to be 140 billion. Just a little bit. Just a 140 billion, yeah. What a trillion, 10% of a trillion would be 100 billion, 140 billion. That little bit. Now do you see the change in narrative? You guys are being greedy. That's what's going to come out. You're being so greedy. You don't want to help these people. It's only a little bit. These people are scum. Scum.
Chuck Schumer and the Democrats force a shutdown, which they now have, that President Trump is going to use that as an opportunity not to tell people you're furloughed for a few days, but instead to send pink slips and to get rid of left-wing bureaucrats who are imposing left-wing priorities that are contrary to President Trump's priorities. I think that is fantastic, and what it's going to do is it's going to cause Democrats in Congress to scream and weep and gnash their teeth. I cannot wait for the next Democrat lunch when they start screaming at each other, when they start seeing pink slips go out at the EPA, at the Department of Labor, at the IRS, and suddenly the bureaucrats that they are entrusting to advance their job-killing agenda are themselves without a job. That's what's going to end this shutdown, as the Democrats are realizing that President Trump is making major advances for economic liberty as a result of the Democrats' temper tantrum.
So tomorrow an interview comes out with President Trump, and I forget his name. He's Monica Page's husband. What's his name? Maybe they'll say it here. But he pretty much just echoed that. It's time to just start getting rid of these people. So take a listen.
There was an OMB memo going around suggesting that there might be firings during the shutdown. Do you think that will happen if the shutdown goes for a little bit of time, sir?
Well, there could be firings, and that's their fault. And it could also be other things. I mean, we could cut projects that they wanted, favorite projects, and they'd be permanently cut. So you could say, a lot of people are saying Trump wanted this, that I wanted this closing, and I didn't want it. But a lot of people are saying it because I'm allowed to cut things that should have never been approved in the first place.
So if President Trump doesn't believe that these things should have ever been approved in the first place, that means they've already looked at these things and they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting till everyone's out of town because the House is gone, and tomorrow and Friday, I guess they come back to Senate. Tomorrow might be a hatchet day of epic proportions. It's coming. It's not an if, it's a when. And everybody better get used to it because these people are going to go absolutely ballistic. I mean, just go crazy.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett, everybody's wanting to know what's going on with the shutdown. As you all know, we passed the bill to keep the government open in the House. Only one Democrat voted with us. It's in the Senate now, and Chuck Schumer's holding it up. He's had 3 peel off of him off the Democrat side, but we need more to get the 60-vote threshold. And why is he doing this? It's because of one thing, folks. He is worried about his future, not about the country. Why is he taking money from rural health care, $50 billion, wanting to give it to illegals for their health care? Why is he for transgender surgery? Because the radical left. And why is he doing all this? Because he's looking in his rearview mirror, folks. And who's he see? Of course, you see me. He sees Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. When she announces that she's running for Senate against him, he will lose because he is seeing his base deteriorated. He's seeing the once great city of New York is now going to vote for a communist. Pure and simple. That's all this is about. It's not about what's best for this country. It's about what's best for Chuck Schumer. We deserve much better. Thank y'all for sending me here.
All right, so that's Congressman Tim Burchett, who we've had on the show a number of times, telling it straight as it is. AOC is already licking her chops. She's ready to retire Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's trying to hold on as best he can because New York's about to turn into a communist state, and AOC is going to have complete crazies that are going to be voting for her, and she's coming for Chuck Schumer. And so he already knows his days are numbered. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if in the next, couple months after this shutdown thing is over, he retires. I've decided to go spend some time with my wife and just fade off into the sunset. I've been here for 50 years, whatever it is. Watch him retire. I'm calling it right now. He's not going to want to face the humiliation of her spanking him. He will retire and just go off into the sunset and probably come down here and move to Florida and get the hell out of New York. A lot of people are going to be doing that.
Obviously, they're going out to Northern California, where the Super Bowl's in Santa Clara this year. And Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, this is their headquarters, and they want to make it.
All right, so this story, I kept getting emails about, and I'm like, I don't want to go into this. I know a lot of people are just all kinds of pissed off about it, about Bad Bunny playing in the Super Bowl halftime show. I think I went to arguably the best halftime show ever. I know a lot of people will say that Creed's halftime show was great. A lot of people will say that Michael Jackson's halftime show was great. A lot of people will say Paul McCartney's halftime show was great. I saw Prince down here in Miami, and he put on an amazing show. They basically had to pull him off the stage because he owned it. And somehow it was raining. It was raining really hard, and he wasn't getting wet. He was just going crazy playing his guitar. I was amazed. The people we were with, like, does he know it's raining? And they didn't care. Put on a fantastic show. Why do I say this? It's because the spectacle of the halftime show is no longer about entertainment. Back when Michael Jackson and Prince and Creed and Aerosmith and it was about artists that signified and had a huge amount of people in the country that wanted to see that particular artist. It is no longer that. And if you've seen the halftime shows recently, you know it's like, who is that? Don't even know who that person is. This is strictly political. Who's talking to Glenn Beck right now is a guy named Jason Whitlock. If you don't know Jason was a sportscaster turned political pundit, and he's a strong Christian man, and he lets his feelings be known in that regard. And he sees it for what it is. The Super Bowl, the first problem is being held in San Francisco this year. And so the people who picked the Super Bowl entertainment are based with a contract with Rock Nation, who's owned or partly owned by Jay-Z, Beyonce's husband. And so they knew what was happening in San Francisco. This is going to be, the entire Super Bowl is going to be a glorious celebration for people who like the Gimp. You're going to see Transformers. You're going to see, it's like they'll have their own LGBTQI, SSIPPI, the whole stage, the whole field will be covered with nothing but stuff to ram down your throat. They have taken over the biggest stage in the world with the most eyeballs in the world, and they're going to ram their message down people's throat. Unless, of course, the NFL smartens up and realizes this isn't going to be good. This is not going to be good. You're seeing what's going on right now on X. Everybody's just destroying Netflix because people are digging up all this stuff that they've been putting out there for kids. And so you're telling me you're going to put on that kind of a show in front of the biggest audience in the world? You will destroy your brand forever. It'll make the kneeling seem insignificant. That's how bad it will be for the NFL brand. If they want to push forward with this, they're killing it. People may turn off and not even watch the second half. The reason I wasn't talking about it is because, one, you can't really give the whole story and show who Bad Bunny is, because all of his music and his antics are copyrighted, so you can't see it. So you just have to take the word for it that this guy is Bad Bunny. And me personally, I just won't watch. When it goes to the halftime show, turn on the Puppy Bowl or something. Don't even watch it. That way you won't get offended. And this is Jason talking to Glenn Beck about it.
Statement about illegal immigration. They want to make a statement about diversity and Spanish-speaking people. They want to make a statement about transgenderism and sexual fluidity. And Bad Bunny checks all those boxes. And so that's what they're doing. This has nothing to do with football fans. This is about the left's control of popular culture and control of the National Football League, which is the strongest thing in popular culture, and they're using it to make a big, bold statement about how they feel about Donald Trump, but more importantly, how they feel about Jesus Christ.
So now, as an expert on Bad Bunny for the last 35 seconds, let me push back on this. I think I agree with you, Jason, but let me push back on you. I see the NFL, I see the NBA placating China because that's their new place. The NFL all over the world, NFL really trying to get, football to be American football in other markets. Why is this not just a continuation of that play to get the Super Bowl to be watched in Latin America?
Because there's plenty of other Latin American artists they could have chosen if that was the play. They didn't have to pick someone who is so closely associated with demonic activities, so closely associated with promoting gender fluidity and the cross-dressing deal. They didn't have to pick someone who's so outspoken against Donald Trump and his illegal immigration policies. This is the poster boy for Trump hate, and this is the poster boy for sexual fluidity and redefining masculinity. These are things straight out of his own mouth. And look, all money isn't good money. And that's what globalism is teaching us, that we can throw away all of our Christian values, all of our American values in pursuit of global money. And then what are we left with? A drag show at halftime of the biggest platform we have to offer in American culture. And so parents will be having discussions with their kids on Super Bowl Sunday. Mommy, Daddy, why is this man out here dressed as a woman?
No. Don't have those conversations. Jason, I'm going to have to disagree with you. You got 3 months notice at this point. Understand what this spectacle is going to be. Even if you like football, if the kids are in the living room with you, turn on the Puppy Bowl. Time it and say, okay, I need 20 minutes or whatever it's going to be. And if you want to watch the game, you can come back and watch the game. If children see this stuff, it's because parents aren't going to be the gatekeepers. I'm telling you right now, I know this audience here at Fanfare. I know the community we have built. There are some people who don't want to see the NFL at all. And the rest of the people aren't going to want to see Bad Bunny and everything he stands for. And here's the biggest problem with it is that there's not a lot of people probably in the chat right now who have seen anything by Bad Bunny. It would never have you never would have seen it. And so if you tune on the Super Bowl without ever knowing who this guy is and what he was capable of, it would shock you. And Jason's right. It's demonic. It's satanic. And the NFL, me personally, I don't think it happens. I think sometime between now and the time that this Super Bowl, which is the first weekend in February, they pull the plug. They pull the plug, and he's not going to be there. They're terrified of the uproar they're going to get from California. Gavin Newsom is probably pressuring it. It's the perfect venue for the anti-Trumpist. It's a perfect venue to run this message down your throat. Don't give them the opportunity. Even if you like the teams that are playing, don't give them the opportunity. Don't let your kids look at the spectacle that's going to happen. Who knows how wild he'll try to go? If your kids or you subject yourself to this stuff, you can't blame anybody else.
During some part of this act, why are his fingernails painted? Why is he taking subtle shots at Trump? This is, to me, part of it's a reaction to the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service. It was such a powerful pro-Jesus Christ deal. They have their answer now, and it'll be Super Bowl Sunday.
It'll be bad. So that's kind of why I didn't want to talk about Bad Bunny, because it's of no consequence to me. I will not watch. I will not see it. But I felt I had to talk about it, at least, and put it to bed today and say, that's it. That's all I want to hear about Bad Bunny. I'm not going to bring it up again. You've been warned. You have now been forewarned at 10 o'clock on October 1st. Wow, it's 10/11 on 10/1. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I'm numerologist. Just thought that was pretty cool. In any event, don't watch it. All right, so I'm going to close here with a couple of fan videos. By the way, wait a minute, do I have the graphic in here? I'm not sure if I have it on this computer. Let me look here. Nope, I don't have the graphic. I'll have to get it. But anyway, if you go to fanfareshop.org/submit video, fanfareshop.org/submit video, you can submit a 60-second video. And I've got like 3 or 4 videos from some people who decided they wanted to submit something.
Good morning, Barry. Love your show. Appreciate all that you do to keep us up on what's going on in this very important time we're living in. Would love to have you send everybody who lives in California or knows somebody in California to reformcalifornia.org. We need to get no on 50, Governor Gavin's power grab, and we also need to get voter ID on the ballot. So check out reformcalifornia.org and you'll find out how you can help. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless.
I wish I knew your name. Your voice is so calming. So very calming. I found myself, yes, okay. So do what you said. Help the people in California fight this insanity that's going on. It feels so bad for people who live in California, who are good people, but have to deal with this crazy governor and what they're doing out there and what they have done out there. So anything you can do to help with the reform of California is greatly appreciated. It doesn't have to be dollars. It could just be signing a petition. It could be spreading the word. Do something. Help. You got fingers. Go ahead and do something like that.
Hello, Barry. Hello, Fanfare family. I'm going to try to squeeze a little bit into this 60 seconds here, and I wanted to start with Charlie Kirk. My wife and I both didn't realize how much the man actually meant to us until this happened to him. And I wanted to get my voice out there about my lament for Charlie Kirk. And we will miss him. I used to watch him every day like I watch you, Barry, every day. And I'm grateful for the time that we had with him and everything that he left behind. The other thing I wanted to squeeze in here was you, Barry. I want to thank you for all you do. I enjoy all of it, from the news commentary to the prosperity, everything you talk about. I'm one of the silent people who are in here and never say a word, except now. I love it all. Don't change a thing, and don't listen to any of the trolls.
I love that. Don't listen to the trolls. It's hard for me. SB, he shields me, and Ashley, but sometimes I turn over and look at the chat, and I'm like, I'm going to have to jump on this one. But yes, thank you very much. Thank you for even mentioning me in the same sentence with Charlie Kirk. I greatly appreciate that. That means more than you know. I keep trying to up my game here. I'm going to be fixing this up and everything else, and going to have some fun in this studio. Obviously, it's 10 o'clock at night, so you know where I am. I'm home. And so I told Robin, I said, I don't want to be in the studio. I want to be in the house, at 10 o'clock. So if you need me, I'm right here. So that's where this is. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of different things and everything else. So I got one more for you. I'm probably going to have to delete the end of this because he gets kind of hot.
Hey, Barry and Fan family. This is Gray Man here. And I'm a little pissed off to this. I haven't been in a long time. I see a lot of these little liberals out here posting videos on TikTok celebrating what happened. It's easy to do behind a camera and post it to the internet. They want a war. They may have one. We'll see how they react when the bullet hits the bone, because we have more patriots, more military combat trained personnel, and more firearms on our side.
Gray Man ain't playing. Gray Man, I'm ready for it. I'm like, I want to show it, but I'm gonna have to go and probably delete that part because people are, oh no. They will definitely freak out. Oh man, that's too funny. I was even surprised when I'm sitting there watching it and I'm pushing the button. I'm like, oh, okay, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, but thank you, Gray Man, for that. Gary Better says, Gray Man, great to see you again. Oh, that's it. Yeah, let's dance, baby. That was a big weapon too. Oh man, I was quite surprised with that, and I'm like, it's a great video. All right, everybody, let me do super chats if there's anything in here. I got to make sure. I don't have all my windows set up yet in terms of being able to make sure I can fit everything in. But I'm getting used to the night shows, and you guys are making it easier because you don't mind coming in a little bit later. It gives me a little bit more time between the two shows as I do it. And just to let you know, I just want everyone to know, tonight was supposed to be a Rumble jump over. I am still, I am still doing that. But unfortunately, Rumble got messed up tonight and I couldn't do it. And it kind of screwed the pooch on that one. So I apologize not being able to jump over to Rumble. But we'll get it fixed. Still, today's October 1st. We got plenty of time. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of them. So we'll get it going. Let me resize this window so I can bring this in, and let's go. What happened there? All right, while I'm doing that, let me check something because I'm always with you guys. It's late enough where I can find out what has the White House put up for a schedule for tomorrow, Thursday. Hold on one second. And all right, tomorrow, Thursday, President receives intelligence briefing at 11, and that's it. There is nothing on his schedule tomorrow, so I guess with everybody out of town and with the government shut down, he can just get with Russ and maybe they'll start taking care of some things. We shall see. All right, let me just jump here. Fakovsky, let's go. Absolutely. Thanks twice, Fakovsky. Get it done the right way. Mike Starks, doing great, Barry. Love your show. Thank you very much. Gina, my Barry, I believe if MAGA loyals unite, we will conquer. The question is, how many are there? Good question. Favosky again. On to the second cup. Coffee. Thank you. Donnie Mullen. Hakeem Mom must have taken Tylenol. Ernest, thank you. Mariah, exactly, Barry. Jeffries just flips the story. Yep, he couldn't answer the questions. Funny. Jeremiah Kerr, they took away the newcomer's way to escape the bills of the American uninsured. And mothers of newcomers in America do not earn our citizenship. Go away. Exactly. Starfleet, being self-sufficient, give a person a fish, they will eat for a day. Teach a person how to fish, they will eat forever. I'm a big advocate of that for sure. Judy Branch, Alabama, deplorable here. Thanks, Barry. We're all deplorables. Hey, Neil, what's going on, bro? Thank you, Barry. We'll watch replay. Great show. Love your new setup. That much closer to White House press room. Thank you. And that's the same twice. Ed Suarez, if Democrats keep this up, Republicans will have the 2/3 vote to overturn the 20th for a third time this midterm. I hope he can get the voting machines taken care of. Mama Mima, my 4-year-old is an example of everything wrong with California healthcare. He's been on a waiting list for speech therapy for 2 years. Could be another 2 years. Crazy. Chapo, as USAID money dries up, the true value of the things show up. Government, Twitter, Starbucks, and other places that employed wokies can't do it anymore. Yeah, they're finding out. Mark of reality, I thought that the shutdown had to last more than 30 days before he starts to slash and burn. No. Nope, he can do it right away. They'll sue, but he can do it right now. I learned this in his first term when he kept the government shut down for 33 days. First term set up this one. No, he can. Russ Out can do it right away. Favosky, looking for kind words, but all I can say is the Dems could go and go after themselves. David Yeoming, where'd that go? May God bless you. Thank you very much. Peaceful Haven Media. Barati, carry kids, sweep the leg. That's what Republicans need to do. Take them out. Take them out for sure. Where's that one? Oh, okay. Barry is a fanfare gatekeeper. I wish I didn't have to do that. Andrew DePazzo, what the link to send a video? Okay, I don't have the image with me, but it's fanfareshop.org/submit video. All one word, submit video, no spaces. And Elena says, I'm tired of waiting. Come on, Russ. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I was hoping at 12:01 yesterday we're going to drop some bombs. Who knows, tonight we may see some stuff. It's still early. Who knows what President Trump wants to do. All right, I will see you guys. It looks like it's going to be an easy on-time schedule tomorrow. So let's go ahead and plan on getting together at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.